Assalamu alaikum everybody, peace be upon you all. Thank you for coming to Rayhan's podcast. And here I have a friend of mine who, due to his own reasons, wants to be anonymous. I'm going to respect his wishes, right? And we're just going to get straight into it. Okay. For now, for the time being, I'm going to call you my brother.
Sure.
Yeah. Now, when I spoke to you earlier, we spoke about lots of different reasons, regarding, charities, regarding businesses, because you've been a very consistent, committed, successful businessman. You've definitely blown us all away by your expectations, and so many different things. I want to start off by saying, that you're an individual with immense focus and commitment to what you do. A huge respect for that. You know what I mean? You've surpassed, honestly, everyone's expectations in terms of the business that we all started about 10, 15 years ago, but you committed to all that. But you are a person of this part of the community. I want to talk to you about that because I asked you before about why there is such a sort of influx of promiscuity in the Asian community. Like there's girls who are falling into the traps of boys into having sex under the age of 16 during high school, boys chasing after girls, not focusing on what they should be adopting and learning and acquiring the skills. You know what I mean?
That could be many different factors. One of them, I would say, it's parenting. It's the media, movies, music, which provides them with all the significant information that they need to follow a specific path. So parents are not providing parenting like they're supposed to, or knowing their children, things like that. Movies, music has a big influence because end of the day, if you look at it, who's controlling your children? You or the media, you or the government. You as a parent wake up, maybe you'll see them, make breakfast for them, they go to school, they come back from school, father's still at work, mother's still at work because both want to be equally the providers of home. Children come from school, an hour, half an hour, they go to mosque, if they do go to mosque. If not, they'll go to their friends. So parenting, they're your children, but you don't really know them.
Yeah. How often do you get time with them? Because they're at school for 6 hours. They're at mosque for 2.5 hours to 2 hours.
If they know they go out and playing with their friends, things like that. Yeah. So literally they come home, you'll get an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours maybe max every day in the evening. If you're very lucky, 3 hours, right? Yeah. But most of the time, within that time, they've got a tablet in their hand and they're in the bedroom. Yeah. So you as a father, mother, you're feeding them, looking after them for maybe 10, 15 minutes, give and take an average, majority average with Asian community per day. Weekend comes, you're sleeping half of the day, you do your shopping. Maybe you used to take them when they were younger. As they grow up, you don't take them or they don't want to come with you. So the bonding is fading away. So you're not controlling them. The tablet is, media is, and they're putting all the information in their head because you're not even monitoring what they watch, what they're listening to, who they're listening to.
What do you think that they should do?
They should obviously be more interactive with the children, be more friendly with them, guide them. If they make a mistake, tell them no. Not put fear factors in the children to say, don't do this, I'm going to shout, or don't do this, your father's going to shout, your mother's going to shout. You be friends with them. Yes, made a mistake, no problem. You explain to them, right? You be friendly so they know they can approach you next time. Or they can be friends and say, this is what happened. You give them information because there's a lot of people out there I know that have had really good interaction with the family. And believe me, because of that, respect and everything, they don't go and make mistakes. They won't make mistakes or they don't want to be making mistakes. Whereas with the Asian community, majority, they will go and do things because they won't find out. They're not going to know about it. Right? Because they never knew anything about it in the first place.
Compared to the way we grew up, because we're very similar age, isn't it? Compared to when we grew up 20 years ago on the streets, right? How is it different now?
Well, we had more places to walk, more alleyways to go and stand around, more people to interact with. We didn't have tablets or anything like that, so we just go for a walk. We'd be playing footballs. We'll go around the alleyways looking for stuff to build, right? Whereas these days, there's no places out there for children to walk apart from maybe a designated place that is open at certain time for the children to play basketball. Nobody just gets up in the morning thinking, oh, I'm just going to start playing basketball now. You need to find what other people do as an activity. Then see if it interests you. So
Yeah.
people are not going out anymore because everything's been blocked off within time.
Do you remember the youth club that we
Yeah,
had?
Robin Hill.
How helpful was that?
That was very much helpful. Whether you went or not, it was always open.
It was always open.
It was
Yeah.
always open. So you do everything else. Some days you think, you know what, I'm bored, or let's go there and see what they're doing. That's how you get into things. But right now you can't do that because everything's
I learned
closed.
pool first time I played pool. I learned it there. Some big guy who was part of the youth service helped me out. I was a little short kid trying to reach the
Queue.
table.
Yeah.
Queue.
I think having those facility helps. Whether you go or not, you might go in the next couple of weeks. But waking up to say, you know, I'm going to play pool, have that as an activity. I'm going to start going out and doing stuff. It doesn't happen like that. You can't just get up as a child. Let's do stuff. These days, like, let's go to your place, let's go to my place, as kids, because there's nothing out there for you to interact. Even when you go and see your friends, you're sitting down with your phone, tablet, something, keeping your mind busy based on the algorithm that they have created based on what you've watched or what they want you to watch. So even with your friends, you go out there, you're still being controlled and mentally programmed what to do and how to look at things in
Yeah,
life.
but we're definitely brainwashed about how to do things. Yeah. Do you remember the violent incidents that was happening couple of months back in Oldham? Guys getting beaten up over a girl.
I've
How
heard.
much do you know about that?
I don't know as much, I'll be honest with you. I don't. I don't really indulge myself with a lot of gossips or interaction within what's happening. Number one,
It was a big deal back then.
it was, but I probably found after like 2 weeks or something kind of happened. But by then the gossip is cooled down a little bit. But based on what I know, somebody beat the other guy up, and the other kids were like kicking or stuff like that, saying,
Yeah.
even God can help you.
Opposite
Tesco's.
in Anchor Mill in the car park,
Yeah.
opposite what used to be called Chavia.
Okay.
There was a Italian kid, Bengali Italian kid, who was getting beaten up, and I was picking a friend up to make a turn to go to Anchor Mill and then go around again, and I just came and there's a kid getting beaten up. So me and my friend straight away came out, got rid of the guys. We took him to the hospital. His whole nose was busted up and everything. You know what I mean? Found his dad, took his dad to the hospital as well, and they beat him for no reason. They beat him up for no reason at all. You know what I mean? And this was a growing concern for a lot of parents in Oldham. That is my child, because my child who's, well, I don't know, 16 to 18 or 15 to 18, whatever it is, are on the streets of Oldham where they're meant to be safe within the community. Because when you're in the community, you think, yeah, my child will be safe because he's around very familiar people. But guys with balaclavas, all covered up and everything else, came just beats people up. Become people up. Obviously, there may be hidden reasons that we obviously we don't know about, but I think the reason is so minuscule that it's not even worth.
It's going to be something related, I'm guessing, like you said, boys and girls, dating, things like that, So you can't really wave that off right now and say there's no more of such things should be happening. That's going to happen. You can't control that. But the least what you can control is being free with your child to a certain degree. So they trust you to tell you things if they're in fear, if they're afraid of the safety, security, things like that, where you can take a stance, right? But if you don't know your own child, whether he's innocent or not, who's to blame?
Is it okay? Besides the parents, say parents
Besides the
are.
They've done everything.
Let's assume the parents are doing their job.
Parents are doing their job. That's
Doing their
great.
job.
If the
They're
children...
trying to protect them, but the environment is so bad that they go to a losing battle. You know what I mean? To safeguard.
That's possible.
They may not have done those necessary sort of parenting skills when they're young, but as they went along, as being a parent, they learned more things. But by the time they sort of figured out this is what I should be doing, they're already grown up.
True.
That could happen, right?
If that's the situation, that's the case at the moment, because you can't really control that. Parents doing everything in their own power to.
They're trying their best.
They've done their best, okay, and the child has ended up doing X, Y, Z. Then it's the parents' job from now on to move forward and give them better understanding, better training, better education, and say, look, X, Y, Z, whatever it is. If they are unable to do all that, then you need to seek help. I'll be honest with you.
So besides the parents, what other services out there right now?
I don't feel like there's any form of services out there for children or youngsters out there for the community. I don't think there is. Personally, I could be wrong, right? Apart from what I can understand, there's certain stuff like me. Even the mosque is not providing anything. Your local mosque, like out of our service kind of thing, they can do. Mosque is a place to just pray your 5 times salah and you go and do lecture. Then you come on, you just become like perfect. You know what I mean?
Some mosques do
Right?
that,
They
but
do, but I
there are
don't.
also some mosques here who are trying their level best within their means because mosques are community funded. So they're trying their level best. Not all mosques. I think there's some mosques who are trying to
Okay.
make. They have a department called the youth program or whatever it is in some mosques, and they're trying to reach out to youngsters to get them in the mosque and trying to safeguard them from those sort of criminal activities.
I
But some mosques don't have the facility.
if they are doing it, I've not come across anything of a major, if they're using public fund, communities, funds, things like that, and they're actually doing it, it's not been greatly advertised. You don't need a lot of money to advertise certain things. You can do it in quick way. Get volunteers. There's a way of doing it, but as far as I'm aware, there's nothing out there for the youngsters. All they have is get in cars, parents, provide them with whatever money they need, going into drugs, and God knows what they commit such crimes.
Yeah, there's a lovely quote I just read the other day. Yeah, stop giving them what you never had.
Yeah.
Give them so that means obviously in terms of materialistic things. You know what I mean, like cars and money, whatever. Give them the things that you never knew. Give them knowledge and skills and all these things. So stop giving them what you never had. You may not had a flashy car or a big house or a fancy, I don't know, suit to go to the office, but give them the things that you never knew. The required
Knowledge,
knowledge
information, yeah.
of how the world is working, politics, upbringing, nurturing, what to do, what not to do, those skills, how to make a fire. Because a lot of kids don't know how to make a fire, you know what I mean? Like without
Matchstick and lighter.
matchsticks and a life.
But I think we shouldn't be teaching them to this new generation kids how to make a fire with sticks
I
and
don't-
stones, right? Right? They don't have a lighter.
Because I mean, burning buildings, isn't it?
Right? They'll go out and say, let's practice this. I know how to make a fire. And look, it works. And,
What I mean by that is like when you go camping, it's how to search for wood, how to find the right wood for to do.
But do the children know there's a such thing called camping in the first place? Knowledge?
How many parents actually take their kids to camping?
Do they know there's a such thing called hiking? Do they know there's a such thing like, cliff diving? Do they know there's such thing as like, canoeing, boating? There's like so many different activities that they can indulge themselves in, right? Save that money, and make a plan, go out and do stuff like that with a community. Get to know your community.
It can be said as well. It can be said that it's tough times, man. Tough times. Parents, both parents are working. So suppose there's some parents. Obviously, we know there's some parents. Both mother and father are working. You know what I mean? And because they have grandparents or the else, they leave them to it.
Well, the way I look at it is, if you can become parent, if you can bring a child into this world, you should also be aware and have certain time that you make for your children. You can't just bring them here and say, okay, we're busy. You shouldn't be busy. You shouldn't have children if you're busy. I'm sorry. You should have children if you're busy and you can't have time for your children. What's the point of parenting? What's the point of having children? Yes, as long as you can provide and give them certain amount of time and whatever you can work as a partner. You don't need like 40, 50,000 pound income in your house, right? Too much money coming in. You need to look after it. Once you have a child, you need to.
You think that's too much money, yeah?
No, I'm just
50
saying.
grand. Mate, I can do 50 grand, man.
Yeah, anyone can, right? 50, 100, whatever. I'm
But
just gonna make
obviously-
them average,
There's a huge sacrifice I think that fathers make. I don't think it's a negligence on purpose. I think fathers knew that. Listen, if I have to provide for my family and for them to have a good life, I have to work hard and long.
No, don't get me wrong. Fathers do what
And
they do.
fathers are doing the shitty job, the crappy jobs that they don't want to do, but they're doing it because that's their
They're so
job.
proud. No. Respect to the fathers out there. If the mothers also became like mothers and stayed a bit home and looked after the children.
They
The
are
mothers the
housewives
house.
because nowadays
You don't have to be a housewife. Say they're working part-time, whatever it is. But that little bit of time that they have, if they was to bond with the children and family, that'd be perfect because you've got aunties, we never had aunties and things like that back in the days. right? We only had parents and people you knew and so-called friends. Now you've got aunties, uncles, you've got more of a reason to interact with all them.
Yeah,
Right.
they're English speaking. They're sort of brought up in this
Understanding.
country as well. They understand the schooling, the college system, and everything else. So you can relate to them more than we did back in the day. So all our parents and aunties and uncles are Bengali speaking or whatever speaking they are, right?
So going back to the incident you mentioned, right? This is what's happened. It might sound really harsh,
Go on.
right? But I'm sorry, I'm not gonna follow the local community how they think. Someone's beating up someone without any reason. There's something wrong with that child. Straightforward, right? And his upbringing as well. I'm not saying all parents are like that. Yes, maybe in 100, 2, 3 of the parents are really good, but the child ended up being like that. There's no control over that. That's fine. In that case, what do? There's few options. Give him a slap, right? Yes, the police not going to do anything. The community people won't do anything. You can't just be good on one side and expect things going to be okay by talking and, sometimes you got to raise up, right?
My issue is, yeah, are parents aware where your son is, what your son is doing?
No, I
Say,
don't
say
think so.
suppose, yeah, you find out later, my son beat somebody up once, twice, 3 times. Have you made did
Right
you bother
decision.
finding out what he
What
does, where he does, and are you keeping an eye on him? And moreover, right, more so, your daughter, what are your daughters doing? Who are they with? What are they doing? You know what I mean? Why are they coming home late night? Who are they with? Who are they staying over with? All these things need to be sort of addressed.
It can be addressed because everybody looks at life and family growth, family upbringing in a different way. Some people are okay doing all that, going to the aunties, friends, staying over,
But
not
the
staying over,
line,
coming along, whether they're lying or not, or it might be even genuinely true, right? You can't really control that. It's got nothing to do with that. End of the day, it goes back to one thing: do they trust your parents? Do the parents trust the children? Do the children trust the parents as
good
well?
question, good
Right?
question, yeah.
It's all about one. It's like me and you. Do we trust each other to speak? It can't be just one-sided, like say, yes, you know what, I trust you, I like you, whatever it is, everything's fine.
Just
But
for the
I don't
camera, yeah.
tell you, you know
Oh,
what I mean?
I agree
Right?
with everything you say.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I have nothing like say that.
Yeah.
Everything is gold, mate. Everything you say is gold.
Everything's it shouldn't be like that. It should be like, okay, Asians, they don't even have meetings once a week in the table. Forget daily. Meal, you're supposed to have a meal together, sit on a table and talk about your week in general, as far as I'm aware, right? Talk about how was your week, how was your day, how was things, any issues, what happened. You get to know people like that, their thought process. No, come and eat, you've ate, that's the love. Come and do this, right? That's love. That's finished now. You love your child so much, you don't even know who your child is.
Yeah.
You think by sending them to, for example, some Asian like Muslim families, right? Send them to madrasa, things like that. You're just gonna have a child that grows up into something special and perfect, right? That's called mind controlling. That's like brainwashing.
Well, where?
Like making someone go and say become an alim or something, and you expect them to be perfect now. They'll be brainwashed because Islam is so simple, it's so logical. There's no. I know it's an Islamic
how are they
channel,
brainwashed?
right? Brainwash no, I'm saying that that's what people assume. Like
Oh,
parents,
okay, I see.
Parents assume that send
They'll
them
go to a system, to modern school, and expect they will be,
They'll be
really
perfect.
stand-up people.
Yeah, right. It doesn't work like that. You need to know your child. They'll give them education, but that education they would understand.
Those are just tools.
Right? It's just tools. They might never use it because they've not had that bonding that they needed with someone special. Right?
Yeah.
You've done everything from your means, I understand, but bonding can be even like half an hour every day, 15 minutes every day. Sit down. It doesn't have to be like 2-3 hours. Can you provide that 15 minutes and sit down and talk to him in general?
So family time, bonding,
very important.
you need to put that in so that there's mutual trust between two.
Yeah.
Now, he or she may have made mistakes, right? But it's about you as a family
Accepting.
unit going forward and how to fix and rectify those mistakes and move forward as a family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's actually good, really good advice. I want to talk about what are your opinions about, because there's a lot of charities in Oldham and also around the country. I'm not gonna name any companies, but there's a lot of people, and it could be said it's a well done thing, and it's very proud moment that our Muslim brothers and sisters are involved in charities helping a lot of people.
Okay, charity, when it comes to charity, I respect what they do. But in UK, in charity companies, someone has to, no matter what, benefit. Right on the top, someone has to benefit. You can have a charity organization that's 100% free and all the money goes to the organization.
Is there such a thing as what is it? What do they say? Every penny of yours goes to charity.
I don't think so.
Every
That's
penny.
not possible because there's the directors, there's someone, chairman, someone has to benefit with all that. So say you give a pound, 5p, 10p, 40p, whatever it is from the £1 will go towards obviously the running cost. You need that admin cost. Some people get paid, which is fine because you need to get people, pay people's wages so they can do their job properly, kind of thing. At the same time, it benefits one or two individuals right on the top, who are just directors. They don't do anything because it has to benefit someone. There's no such thing as 100% money goes to charity. However it's run, regardless, is the giver's intention to give charity with his own intention,
Yeah.
which should be correct. So what's happening these days are what I don't like. I'm doing 5K run. I'm going to go and climb a mountain. I'm going to dive and swim 200 yards, whatever it is. My point is, why do you have to do all that for me to give you charity? I should be giving you charity without you doing anything and for the cause.
It could be
Right.
looked at someone who's inspiring you to.
No, I'm sorry. That's the mentality maybe that they've gone into right now. That hey, I'm doing 5K run. I'm doing. Why are you doing it? I'm raising money for the charity. By you running, raising money for the charity. Yes, you maybe making them aware. Without running, why can't I just give you money for the charity? Why do you have to run for me to give you charity?
But thing is, nowadays, yeah, people like to be inspired by some individuals, and when people swimming across the River Thames or running a hike, say 200 miles from here to London or from here to Norway, whatever it is, people actually get inspired by all that, and it creates more awareness.
I think it creates
And then people,
awareness and
more
inspiration.
people that are aware, the more donations you get. Isn't that how it works?
Well, I think it depends individually how people's thought process are, how people think. From my understanding, okay, you're doing charity. What is it for? Okay, here's the money. You don't have to run. You don't have to do anything to inspire me. It's up to me to give charity out of my goodwill, right? So if I'm saying, okay, you're taking charity, but what are you doing? And you're going to do 5K run. I'm not happy with that. Do 10K, then I'll give you charity. Right? Do you understand? That's my inspiration.
I'm not happy with
Right.
10K.
Yeah.
Do 15K.
15. Yeah, exactly. You're doing, swimming from English Channel, that's not good enough for me. Go and swim all the way to Turkey or something. Right? Why do you have to do things for me to give you charity? So that's number one. Number two, it's like sometimes you try and push people. Oh, I'm doing this. And I feel bad, so I give you charity. Yes, it's going towards good cause. Maybe unintentionally I've helped someone, but I didn't want to give that money, for example, right? Unintentionally I've been forced to give money that might benefit me hereafter. Well, that's good. But I'm trying to say, why do you have to do stuff for me to give you money? Why? Charity back in the days, it wasn't like that. They've done charity all their life in people's since human was created. There's charity in different forms. Whether I'll give you charity, I'll give you my half a day, I'll give you my 1 day. I will build something because I'm quite good at that, right? I will teach you some skills because I'm good at that. That's charity, not just financially. That look, I need 10K. I'm going to do a run of, sorry, to 10K run. I need to raise up 100,000. I've got so much money.
But you can't deny that these charities, whatever questionable act or method that they're adopting, they're still helping people.
They are.
I mean,
They are.
they're building wells, they're building houses and facilities, schooling as well for those,
Change it.
for those
Okay.
countries where there's no real
Okay.
facilities.
So you've got 100,000, for example, you've got 100,000.
So it's clearly working.
Yeah, okay, it's working. I'm not saying it's not working. It's working up to a certain degree. That's alhamdulillah, that's good. And like I said, anything's better than nothing. Anything is better than nothing, right? And obviously, who am I to say what they're doing, how they're doing it? Because intentionally, me giving money or unintentionally, me giving money is helping someone. I might not want to, but I have, for example. That's fine. It's benefiting them. That's great. But why can't charity companies change how they work? Maybe I'm just saying, okay, we need to build wells in Africa, for example. Why hire one guy from here to go around paying 40K to, build wells? Go over there, right? With that 40K, you can probably hire like 10 people or something. Train them to do it. Then once they're trained, you give them the money and tell them, what have you done? In that way, you're giving more money to charity rather than somebody's wage in a way. This should be charity. It's like instead of giving fish to the community to feed on, teach them how to fish for themselves.
Yeah.
That's charity, right? Why, you just want to open a
Giving them
charity?
a skill to learn
Yeah,
so that they can keep on using the skill
something,
rather
yeah.
than you have to be there every single
It's
day.
like you just want to be the charity company going out there just helping them. Why didn't you just help them for real? Go out there, teach them a skill so they can get up and do it themselves and provide what's necessary, rather than saying, no, I will keep coming back to you and providing you with a fish every single day. Don't, maybe they're doing it, I'm not aware of it, but that's what they should focus on, is give everybody the means to survive.
Back in our days when we were growing up, there were youth clubs. And the libraries were busy, the youth
Right.
clubs were busy, there were people volunteering for youth clubs and helping out young children. And my my memories in youth clubs were very fun. You know what I mean? But we don't have that anymore.
And I don't think we might not even get that back anymore because of financial crisis and situation with the community, local government, the cutting cost. Because if you look at history in itself, it might sound like a conspiracy, but let's not go too much into it. Every 100 years, something really bad happens. Then development starts to kick in, and people have XYZ in the next coming future. So right now we're facing the same era as World War One, World War Two. After what happened, right? There's no money out there. The governments are cutting jobs, prices are hiking, inflation is going up. So talking about having things to help your community is not going to be fully possible right now until the community steps in and says, we'll give £1. That's £400,000 in Oldham, right? There's about 400,000 homes in UK, in Oldham alone. £1, £400,000 a month. 50p is £200,000, right? Put that in a ratio, you'll have something for the kids, but that won't be enough for the entire 400,000 homes to go out there and children to have something to do. So they will have to find different alternative, I'll be honest with you. It's not doable because we've managed with youth clubs because government created a scheme and it worked, right? It was a new thing. People went out, the funding was there from everywhere. Maybe there's still funding available from National Lottery and other sources that no one's really bothered to dig in and find out, right? Maybe that's the case, who knows? But as far as I'm aware, it's different now.
If everybody's out for their own agenda, right, then who is left to actually do the things that are necessary?
It should be the elected individuals that we have elected.
But we know why they are there, innit?
To flux stop voting for them. And I'm being serious. Everybody likes to say, you know what, he should be the councillor, he should be the councillor, he shouldn't be the councillor, he could do a better job. Stop talking, right?
People are usually very gullible.
Well, it's meant to be, the process is your councillor should do XYZ. If he doesn't do it, why vote for him? Go against them. They're here to do public service. They're public servants. They're your servant, they're my servant. Yes, they've got a title, right? But they're not doing the job properly. So people need to stop voting for the same ones over and over again because their relative or family member, whatever it is, right? You need to vote for someone who will actually do stuff. That's how it's meant to be. This is called
Fulfill their promises, isn't it?
this is called professional corruption. That's all it is. Professional corruption. You're voting for them, right? Don't vote for them. Put someone else in there for. If you're not happy with the person who's standing for that group, don't vote. Tell them, move that person, change that person. You can still vote for the same group, but change the person.
There's no one who's, in my opinion, there's.
They're all the same in a way, but is a person
It's about choosing the least
corrupted?
corrupted, probably.
The least professional corrupted one at the moment. But then again, look at it. Who has the power? Put it this way. There's about 8.5 to 9 billion people in the world, right? 200 people is controlling the 8 billion people. By saying we will put objection, we will cut your money, we will create legislation, rules. People are like, they move forward to retaliate, then they go back because you know what? That 200 people have got more power, more money, elites. That's how it's being controlled. But whereas reality, if the people woke up, they can overthrow that 200 people and the government. That's guaranteed. People are too scared because they don't know who to trust, who not to trust. Police are doing their job because they get paid now. They're not police officers. They're corporate officers, right?
I know a guy, yeah. I'm not gonna say the name because he wants to get paid but to come here. So I'll probably call him when I get money to come to the podcast. But he was a copper, and his main speciality was for 6 years was to bang up corrupt coppers.
Sounds
And
good.
he was telling me so many stories, man, of how the coppers and even the whole system is corrupted
The whole system is
from the
professionally.
top down. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's called
They're all related to
professional.
drugs and some kidnapping. The guys who get caught are isolated. They're just to blame an individual, but it's all in
It's a one
with the
big
system.
whole system, exactly. So you can't really go out and say no. But yeah,
I never had respect for coppers anyway, yeah. Because when we needed them when we were kids, yeah, something happening, you never see coppers around.
and even if you call them now, until the crime is not committed, they're not going to come. But if you commit other form of crimes which will benefit the corporate, they will be on your doorstep.
You just put more money in their pockets. That's it.
Well, that's where people comes in again, and that's where your elected government comes in. Where whoever you elected, they should take a stand and say, wait a minute, we're not going to let this go. Wait a minute, this can't happen here. Wait a minute, there's something, why are we cutting down police officers in UK, but providing so much money to causes such as Ukraine, right? Why is it so one-sided? Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. Why is it just one-sided? Where's the Palestinians gone? Right? Nobody wants to hear that name. I'm sorry. They just want to hear what they want to hear. What the people in Rohingya? People in Africa. So
The
many
whole Qatar,
Yeah.
Qatar, they say in English, Qatar,
Qatar.
World Cup has been a really good
Publicity.
thingy, but also it's brought out the hypocrisy of some institutions. Yeah, but obviously with the Western media, the hypocrisy, the double standardness. You know what I mean?
Choose what they want to show, what they're not going to show. The BBCs, and they're using all the such reasoning as LGBT and things like that as the reason why they don't want to promote it. I'm sorry. It's like saying to a vegetarian, right? Recently I've read something. You're a vegetarian. So they have a fight with the meat eater. But the truth is to get your vegetable.
It's actually more the vegans.
More
The
than-
vegans are the ones who are fighting with meat eaters.
Yeah, exactly. It's the vegetable, vegans, they're fighting the meat. That's what I mean. To get that, you polluting the air, planes, everything, fuel, all that that's taking place.
To get your products here.
Exactly. Not only that, why if we...
I wonder where your avocados grow.
Yeah, why if we just kill all the meat animals to save your vegetables, then they're not going to be eating them in the first place, right?
It's more cost effective to kill them here rather than ship them off here.
Yeah, exactly. So the truth is, it's all an excuse. It's all a diversion of propaganda what the media is showing, right? Whatever the subject is. So going down, it's like Ukraine, right? Why Ukraine? Why not Palestine? Why not Rohingya? Why just Ukraine? Okay, Putin. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm vote for Putin or I'm a fan of Putin, but Western media is showing a different side again. Why is it just one-sided story that look, Putin is bad, Putin's given the Western people so many opportunities. I don't want to get into politics here, but from my understanding, what I've read and what I've understood, why don't they show what they've done to Putin in the last 8 years?
Yeah, I may not agree with a lot of the methods and all the ethos, right? But any elected man who fights and develops and grows, right, his own country for his people, I have a huge respect for that.
It's like there's people
I can admire that as well.
There's a lot of people. I mean, the whole war is nothing but about control, power, dollars, petrol, dollars going down, petrol, new financial system is going to be created from all this mess. That's what they want. It's all kind of pre-planned in such a way, right? So whether it's Putin or anybody else, the Western people are going to decide who's bad and who's good. They put the money in. They push people around, right? Who said they're correct? I mean, long time ago, they made a comment saying a land without people and people without land. When was Palestine ever without people? When was it? You just come in 1948 and you claim that. Before you, wait a minute, 2,000 years ago, Jesus was there. His followers were there. Moses was there, right? Solomon was there. So when was it ever without people? Who's behind it? Is there Western hypocrisy people, right, making claims, make allegation? It's all professional corruption.
The whole Zionism and the whole the West Bank, the occupied West Bank and the whole Gaza, Gaza, the whole story. I was watching Muhammad Hijab and somebody else called Daniel something, I can't remember. Yeah, I was watching the podcast and the speeches, and the amount of history was there. You know what I mean? And the truth. We don't know about these things, but we definitely need to know about the history of Palestine. Why are we so attached to Palestine for? I mean,
I mean,
why are the Palestinians not leaving their country and just go somewhere else? Why are they dying to fight with
this,
nothing in their hand, no guns, no weapons, but they're staying there and they're dying there?
but we're talking about Palestine. I'm telling you another thing that not many people know. Palestine the name was given by the British. Did you know?
I heard different.
From my understanding, what I've read, and if you go back in the past, the religious theology has always called that area of land Israel. Even in the Quran, there's no such thing as Palestine. It says Israel, right? That part of land is called Israel. So them changing name and everything is irrelevant. For me, that's not relevant. It's irrelevant. But I'll call it Palestine just so people know what's happening.
I think the name Palestine is
Philistine.
Philistine or whatever.
Philistine
There's actually a lot more
There's
behind
more
it.
behind
There-
it.
There's more Turkish involvement as well, Afghani involvement.
yeah.
You know what I mean, as well, behind the whole
Behind all
Israel, the whole Jerusalem, Israel and Palestinians and everything else. So by just saying that it's just a British name thing, I think it's a very very well, probably even half false, an understatement of the whole issue.
Possibly, but there's
Because
no mention.
I don't know much, yeah, actually, but just listening on the podcast that Mohammed Hijab and the other person, you know what? I'll put up the link, yeah. The one that's going on, and it opens your mind
It
to
does.
more things like where is that all that history come from, and
The
it opens
knowledge
your
and
mind, yeah.
everything.
So much history in Palestine.
So going back to the main question, that goes back into our elected people.
Yeah,
right?
go for it.
Going back, the elected people are responsible for
people
doing
in
their
power.
job. We've elected you. Whatever you're getting facility-wise, good. You're not doing your job properly, right? I'm sorry, it's the time right now. You can't just get up and something happens and start announcing X, Y, Z, or you go to board meeting in councils, nothing
They
happens.
even use the masjid as their
That's wrong.
playground.
I'm sorry, but that's wrong. They use.
Of course it's wrong.
They use.
A masjid should be a neutral ground.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be used for anybody's platform.
Exactly. There's a lot of things, but yeah, I'm not happy with the local.
We know which masjid that is, obviously, innit? We know which mosque that they're taking over to use as their sort of platform
Platform.
to
Yeah, but I think that
portray
happens
their sort of
that happens-
biasness.
That happens pretty much in every single one. There's people behind it. who
Not every
think-
single mosque. Not every single
Okay,
mosque.
people who
There are
probably
mosques
think-
who are aware of that, and they've actually been told that we are not going to be able to do your bidding because this mosque is a neutral ground, and we will not. We will pray for you that the best man wins, but more than that, we can't do.
Yeah, but yeah, the elected people are not doing their job. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter what they claim they're doing. They're not. If you've got 3-4 strikes in a year in general, you're definitely not doing your job properly. If the same thing happens over and over again, you've not put the right measures in place. Yeah, you're not doing your job properly. Anybody else, it's like when the mayors walk in or councillors walk in, everyone's like, "Oh, the councillors here, be careful, quiet." It's all about form of tradition needs to be followed. Mayor walks around with the gold chain to show he's the mayor. Do your job. We don't need to see mayors walking around with the gold chain. I'm sorry, that doesn't fascinate things with me.
We can let some of those traditions go.
We can let them go by, but do your job properly.
Do your job at least. innit?
Yeah, you can wear what you want to wear, right? Don't just walk around with a gold chain to show who you are. Go and do your job.
Somebody asked me the other day, right? If I was one day, right, given a letter from the Buckingham Palace to come and approach the Queen and do the whole bowing down thing,
Stuff.
I would never do that.
I would never do that. I'll have my own condition. Say yes, I'll come up. I won't.
I'll accept it probably.
I'll accept the proposal.
But even then, that's questionable. But I will never bow down.
No, I won't.
Because why? What inspires me not to do that? Because of the Sahabas. They've approached so many kings and queens and all these
never
things.
did.
They never bowed down.
They took
Not
jewels.
because out of disrespect, because the only anybody or any being that's worthy of being bowed down to is our Lord.
Allah. It's
Allah.
It's simple as that. Yeah,
Simple as that.
So, whatever rules and regulations they have, I'll obviously make my own agreement and say, look, I've accepted this. I'll be there. I'm not going to tell them I'm going to do it. I've accepted you. I'll be there. Once I go there and they start telling me the rules and regulations, I'll just listen to them, but I'm not going to fulfill them. It's simple as that.
When the Queen passed away, I saw clips of Muslims walking past and making dua, you know what I mean? Making dua, making prayers, yeah, for the thingy. And some of them even bowed down, man. Like proper sajda, man. Astaghfirullah.
Doesn't matter who it is, you just follow the process. You should make dua before they die. for them to openly declare or to become Muslim, whether they openly declare or not. You know if someone's a Muslim or not. You should pray that somebody follows the righteous path. I mean, I have someone in my team who is one of the head of churches, shall I say, in all of UK. She'll always trying to promote XYZ Christianity to me in various forms, in so many different ways. Recently, she gave me a book about, I'll name the book actually, called Nabil Qureshi. Right? Nabil Qureshi. Right? Something about, the titles about how he found Christianity through Allah.
Okay.
And doing a bit of digging, I'm sorry to say...
that don't make sense. How can you find Christianity through Allah? If Allah sent prophets and the Quran...
I don't expect people to go and read the book.
The more you can do is that you could take the Quran as the updated version of
the Bible. Yeah.
Which was the original Bible, not the Bible that you see now.
But a lot of people don't understand the misconception, and they think, yes, he found Jesus through Allah, because the Quran and whatever he wants to claim. First of all, from my research, I found out he wasn't even classed as a Muslim. He was like a Qadiani or a Shia. Okay. So you're not even a Muslim to find.
Some Shias are Muslim, by the way.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying all Shias.
No, all Shias are
Qadiani and Shiism, the certain...
Qadianis are way out of Islam, yeah? But the majority of Shias are
Muslim. They're Muslim, and certain stuff, they have a different understanding of what Islam is and what... But these are like categorized, I don't want to go into right now. But overall, talking about Nabil Qureshi, he wasn't a Muslim in the first place to find. And secondly, his understanding and knowledge that is taking everything out of context to prove Christianity. You are in the Muslim in the first place to find Christianity.
It just proves how much he doesn't know. Then.
Yeah. So talking about that subject, going back, she's like one of the church and everything. She deals with consistently trying to promote Christianity. She could do a lot of things, like in terms of like be open, be more debatable, be more understanding, learning other religion properly. The reason I'm declaring that is because Muslims going out, making dua, making sujood, you don't know your religion. Go and learn your religion first, what you can do, what you can't do, and why, and follow that instead of making dua for XYZ. If it's haram in Islam, it's haram. You can't. The Prophet of Islam, he wasn't even allowed to make dua for his parents. They were Muslim, right? And that's a big heartbroken thing. You would expect, the Prophet's parents to be Muslim as well, things like that, because he's the most beloved to Allah. So unfortunately, his parents are not Muslim. So therefore, he couldn't make dua. If somebody understands how much of a big heartbreak that is, it's huge, right? Yeah. And you're there, somebody died because they're just a public figure. You're doing sujood, you're doing dua and things like that. Should have done it in the beginning. Make dua for them, not sujood. Make dua for them in the beginning.
While they're alive.
Allah guides them. Give them dawah.
Yeah. Once they're dead, their face been sealed and Allah's made his decision, isn't it?
Yeah.
We must respect that, obey that, obey to that, actually. Yeah. Not just respect it because we have a choice. We must obey to that will. Yeah.
To the will.
We have to accept that.
Oh, definitely.
Right, guys. Thank you very much for listening to our conversations. We had a lot of discussions about certain topics, and I hope this sort of gives you some value. And this is Rayhan Podcast. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and more importantly, obviously, is that share me your comments, share me your thoughts, share me your struggles, what you're going through, and please let me know what you're thinking. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.